hilarity since I was sitting there and listening to a very comprehensive and sophisticated analysis by our friend Dr. Cornel Elst. So it's a kind of my responsibility that I should just draw attention to some of the things that have been highlighted. And the very nice questions, and that girl asked a question which made him spend 20 minutes answering it, which is something very nice. You see, the question, you elaborate response as it should have done. Some things that have come and I am going to make only observations. I was wondering whether it was really necessary to introduce secularism and socialism, as you said, because Ambedkar ji had argued against it. That's a very good point to make. And the question that is arisen about caste and slavery, I want to point out one or two things. One, that Herodotus quotes a Sicilian Diodorus Sicilius, 2nd century BC, who came to India. And he said that Hindus have a law that no man can be slave to another. This is 2nd century BC. No man can be slave to another. So this is the whole political argument about caste being racial slavery that has been built up, the narrative that has been built up, as part of a general, what should I say, attack on Hinduism as the only alternative civilization to the Western Christian civilization that exists. And it is a very deadly alternative. It's a challenging alternative because, people, the Hindus do not convert, but people on their own get converted to Hinduism. And people from all over. And they find succor, they escape into this. So the question of slavery, remember, in Aristotle's politics, slaves are the fifth segment of society. They are accepted. Slavery is accepted in the Western tradition. And from 3rd century BC to 1865, when Abraham Lincoln, who I always thought should have been born in India, he was born in the wrong place. Abraham Lincoln decided to put an end to it. Imagine, men being chained and captured from African lands, brought in ships and made to work. I really respect your statement that the West has the habit of shifting its guilt to others. You see? So, they killed 4 million Jews in 1940 to 45 and genocide. And then in 2002, when 1,000 people get killed or 2,000 people get killed in Gujarat, they say genocide. So their genocide is transferred. Like this. The people who talk about peace, who talk about human rights, and they carry these slogans as sticks to beat our societies, they are the ones who fight the largest number of wars. You see, there is not a year when, for example, America has not been fighting. Every year they are fighting. And they carry the banner of peace. I am not saying the Americans, maybe it's their compulsion, but then human rights violations, you see, I sometimes ask that a civilization that wiped out the Red Indians, the Indians, wiped out 36 million Mexicans, only 1 million left, wiped out the billions of bisons from Canada, Northern America, the civilization which has indulged in such violence. And okay, those are 16th century, 17th century. But 1940 to 45, you set up factories to kill people, highly educated people, trained nurses, poisoning children, learned engineers setting up gas chambers. You see? And those are the people who then, lecture us on human rights, on equality, and all that. Therefore, in fact, we should not succumb. We are, because of the policies that have been followed as by people in the last 70 years, as able disciples of the British, divide Hindu from Muslim, then from Hindus you divide Swarn and not Swarn, then not Swarn, there is a creamy layer, there is a non-creamy layer, and you go on dividing. So divide. So we have been very able in dividing, but I think we should. I asked a simple question to about 1,000 girls in a rural girls' university. I said, if we had been really as bad as we are portrayed, tell me, why are we the only civilization which has survived for 5,000 years? Only civilization which has survived. There must be some strength. There must be some virtues. There are things in us. And unfortunately, it has already been said that in fact, Indian state is not a secular state. Not a secular state. Indian people, particularly by and large, Indian people are secular. The state is not secular. The state is partisan. Partisan in matter of laws. They allow different religious groups, different personal laws, and the Hindu community, because it is so, it has been one intrinsically tolerant. Secondly, 1,000 years of suppression, and 80 million Hindus killed. The Hindu population fell by 20 crores between 1200 and 1500. Imagine. So such suffering. So Hindus have become docile. They have lost their spine. They don't fight back. And the moment they fight back, they are told, no, you are a very tolerant people. Please, keep on tolerating. Keep on tolerating. Because you are a tolerant people. Hinduism is tolerant. So let me abuse you. Doesn't matter. Don't fight back. Don't fight back. Because you are a tolerant religion. You are tolerant. We have had, tell me, I have had a series of things. Recent developments, Ratnuji says, 3 recent developments. We have a Prime Minister who openly prays in the temples. This has not happened again. Openly prays and also fasts. उपवास भी रखते हैं, उपासना भी करते हैं. He is not ashamed of being a Hindu. Secondly, triple talaq, abolition. Now, there is anxiety. A section of our people feel that this is the beginning of, it's a kind of, attack. But it is not. It is all the schemes that the government has introduced for the welfare of the poor or the girls, they have been rigorously, without exception, made available to all sections of the people. All sections. For example, लड़कियों को जो education का दिया है, I mean this is a record. Everybody has been given. But then to liberate, you see, look at it, forget Hindu-Muslim. Imagine, let's say about 15 to 20% of our girls, Muslim girls, you know, who are debarred from public life, who do not contribute to India as other girls do. We have liberated them. They will come out and they will also fly our fighter planes. They will also join our armed forces. How much strength India will gain when you liberate a section of the people who are not liberated, not liberated. But then it is seen as an attack. It is here, it's a matter of perception. But I am sure those who have been liberated are very appreciative that they have been liberated. And that's why a party which has been branded as Hindutva, right, so on and so on, I think that party got a large number of votes from our Muslim daughters and Muslim sisters. Large number. Otherwise in UP, Uttar Pradesh, how do you get 67 seats out of 75? Can you imagine? You can't imagine. So there are two ways. One this is happened. So secularism, how secularism is now seen in terms of triple talaq. Well, secularism means, as the gentleman called boy pointed out, that minorities should be left alone. Even if they do wrong, they should be left alone. No, that is not secularism. That if somebody does wrong, it has to be corrected in the general good. In the general good. And the abolition, third thing. First thing is positive. Here is a Prime Minister who is not ashamed to be a Hindu. I will tell you why I am saying this later. A little. The second is that is a positive action, triple talaq. Avoid. Marriage laws, बराबर है. अभी भी नहीं है. अभी भी marriage laws of different communities are not equally protective of women. They should be made, all marriage laws should be made equally protective of women. Equally protective. That need to be made, even now. Thirdly, Article 370 in this abolition. I think this is now seen as, from the point of view of secular state, that because Kashmir is a Muslim majority state, so it has been done. Because Kashmir as a Muslim majority state should have been part of Pakistan. But then, how about our own Muslim population, Indian Muslims, who are larger in number than whole of Pakistan? Whole of Pakistan. How can you argue that Kashmir, which is a majority Muslim state, should go to Pakistan? Why not with India, which has a larger number of Muslims, Indian Muslims? So that is not, it's not really a religious question. It's a question of the people of that region having been induced to think in terms of local freedom, autonomy, or basically they don't want to. They wanted Azadi, as they want autonomous, independent. But the logic that it is a Muslim state or a Hindu state does not apply, because as a Muslim majority state should join that part of the subcontinent which has more Muslim population than others. So there is a great part, and of course, as Sir has pointed out, you see, unequal. It is more a question of normalization than this. I want to point out that the Indian state, in fact, in India, secularism has been more or less anti-Hinduism. I will give you some examples. Some examples you have already mentioned. For example, temples. In 1951, imagine 1951. Why 1951? The government makes a law that the government can take over the administration of any temple, Hindu temples, not churches, not mosques, temples. And some of your major temples, where there is a lot of money, it is in the hands of the government, and often the management is run by people who are not Hindus. And the money that the Hindu worshippers pay is used for purposes other than maintenance of the temple or maintenance of the rituals. How do you justify this? Either the government should take over other religious issues also, or why should they interfere with Hindu temples? Why? And the money is used for purposes, I won't spell out, but the money is used for purposes which are often against the interest of Hindus. Money from the Hindu temple used against the interest of it. Number one, education. Everybody can teach their own religious texts. They can read religious texts. But the Hindus cannot open Hindu schools. So you can't set up a school and teach Bhagavad Gita, Ramayana, Mahabharata. बाकी छोड़ दीजिए, Mahabharata is a highly secular text. In fact, it is wonderfully secular because it teaches you to fight. To fight for your rights. But no, it's not taught. You can't teach because you are the majority. Only the minority. There is a minority education commission. साढ़े दोस्त तो चाहिए, जसपाल सिंह जी और minority education commission is there, and there are 5 or 7 very eminent gentlemen who every day meet and enjoy, have tea and talk nicely and all that about minority education. Why? When you have a national education commission, why do you need a minority education commission? You have already provided in the constitution, they can open their institutions, and they are opening their institutions. Why should not the Hindus be allowed to open this? Why not? Third, marriage. The Hindu family and the Hindu marriage, it is the Hindu family which has been responsible for the continuity of Indian civilization. It is the Dhuri कहते पंजाबी में Dhuri, on which the Hindu civilization has there. Now your judiciary says, live-in ठीक है, or marriage is not necessary. It is attack on the institution of marriage. Even the children born out of wedlock, they will have equal rights like natural children, all right, fair to children. But it is an attack on the institution of family. In the long run, you are undercutting the foundations of Hindu society. There have been many other judgments. For example, I will tell you that languages today, these festivals, pollution, all the Hindu festivals, they pollute the atmosphere, according to the judiciary. दिवाली में पटाखे बहुत चलते हैं, आवाज 10 बजे के बाद बंद करो, होता है ना। होली में बहुत गंद होता है, ये होता है, तो ये रंग नहीं होने चाहिए। स्कूलों में बच्चों को, खासकर इंग्लिश मीडियम स्कूलों में बच्चों को सिखाया जाता है, पटाखे मत चलाओ, रंग मत लगाओ। मुझे बताइए, मिलियंस ऑफ जानवर कटते हैं एक दिन में, उससे पोल्यूशन नहीं होती? उससे नहीं होती, वो नहीं होती ना, पर पटाखे चलाने से होती है। जैसे हमारी सारी क्लाइमेटोलॉजी जो है, आर्कटिक सी मेल्ट्स बिकॉज ऑफ द पटाखास, आर्कटिक सी मेल्ट हो जाती है। And I will do something here with this. Festivals. The festivals. Hindu civilization, we lost political power in 1193, and we have not yet got it back. Not yet. We are in the process of standing on our own feet. कुछ हमारे साथ जस्टिस हो, अभी तक नहीं हो रहा था, In our symbols, NCERT की बुक्स पढ़िए, गुरु तेग बहादुर was a dacoit, लुटेरा था। इसी जाट जो थे हरियाणा के, वो ठग थे, वो दिल्ली को लूटा करते थे। You know, these are the kinds of things which have been taught. Our symbols, our heroes. Rana Pratap was trying to resist Akbar's attempt at unification of the country. ये महाराणा प्रताप। And Shivaji, of course, was a mountain rat. Am I right? पढ़ा ना आप? You see, the point is that our symbols, our heroes, our festivals, our beliefs, our values, they have all been questioned one after the other. What we are only wanting and now hoping is that we will be able. That's why remember Thackeray, Bala Saheb Thackeray, 30 years ago, he said, "Garv se kaho Kamini," because you kindly be with me. I am now 79. I have seen, I have heard that for almost 30, 35, 40 years on the All India Radio, you could never hear the word Hindu. Never. The word was not used. And you know the situation. Good army, this Indian officers, academic, administrative, officers, सुबह बाबू लोग जाते हैं, मंगलवार को हनुमान मंदिर जाते हैं, तो कहते हैं कि हल्का लगाना, हल्का, हल्का टीका लगाना, तो हल्का लगवाते, बाहर निकलते, पहुंच के ऑफिस चले जाते हैं, शर्म आती है। When a Hindu goes to the temple, he is a communal person. When a Christian goes, he is a good Christian. And when a Muslim goes, he is a pious Muslim. And Hindu is a communal Hindu when you go to the temple. ये जो atmosphere है, और सुनिए, फिल्मों में for 30 years, all the 4 castes of Hindus, they were portrayed as villains. Brahman, लेचरस, उसके नीचे मंदिर, उसके मूर्ति के नीचे पैसे दबाए गए। क्या लाला जी अडल्ट्रेटर, ठाकुर रेपिस्ट, see, and who was the savior? Pathan. Pran was the savior. 30 years, your films have taught you that all your people are bad and they have no character. Your Brahmins have no character, Kshatriyas have no character, traders have no character, and you are ruining each other. The only protector is Pran. Pran was generally the Pathan, the Kabli wala type. तो ये जो एटमॉस्फेयर बनाया गया है, उसमें से निकलने का अब थोड़ा रास्ता बना है, इसलिए लोग बड़े अपसेट हैं। अभी तक हमें एंजाइटी होती थी, अब थोड़ी दूसरे लोगों को एंजाइटी हो रही है। ये जो इक्वालिटी है, दिस इज इक्वालिटी ऑफ अपॉर्चुनिटी, क्या वो भी एंजाइटी उनको हो रही है? There are many things. There was no need in 1975 to introduce, because look at your history. Vishnu Puran 2nd century BC से लेके अब तक, India has been a plurilingual, pluri-ethnic, pluri-faith country and living together. Ashoka inscriptions, read them. Don't undermine other faiths. You respect your faith, but don't undermine your other faith. एलोरा की गुफाएं, 12 गुफाएं बौद्धों की, 17 हिंदुओं की, 7 जैनियों की, मतलब गुफाएं बनती है, सबके लिए बनती है। This is tolerance. This is we have our history was that, and I remember Justice Kuldeep Singh. Justice Kuldeep Singh in Constitution Club, he said that when he took up the case for Sanskrit, people told him संस्कृत तो हिंदुओं की लैंग्वेज है, तो उन्होंने कहा कि ये he took 6 months off, डेट डाल दी 6 महीने बाद संस्कृत की केस की 1994, and he read Ved पढ़े, Upanishad पढ़े, Shastra पढ़े. He came back and he says, my friends told me, if you now decide in favor of Sanskrit, then you will be, strengthening Hindu communalism. Kuldeep Singh himself. He said, I told them, you have not read the books. There is nothing Hindu about the Vedas, about the Shastras. They were written 3,000 years ago when the religions were not there, other religions were not there. They are not against other religions. 3000 साल पहले कौन सा धर्म था? किसके खिलाफ लिखा है? Ideas हैं. And he says, in any case, अगर हिंदू भी हैं, तो ये देश सेक्युलर इसलिए है कि जहाँ 10 लोग बैठते हैं, उसमें 8 हिंदू होते हैं. इसलिए सेक्युलर है. Who else is secular? और अगर पार्टीशन से पहले जनता हिंदू महासभा को, हिंदू जनता हिंदू महासभा को वोट नहीं करती थी, मुस्लिम लीग को करते थे. हिंदू जनता हिंदू महासभा को वोट नहीं करती थी, कांग्रेस को करती थी. कांग्रेसियों को गलतफहमी हो गई कि वो कांग्रेस को वोट करते हैं. हिंदू जनता उनको वोट करती थी जो कहते थे कि हम इस देश को बंटने नहीं देंगे. We will not allow the country to be divided on the basis of religion. उसी कांग्रेस ने 1945 में किंग्सवे कैंप में, दिल्ली में, हम दिल्ली में ही है ना, तो किंग्सवे कैंप में 1945 में रेजोल्यूशन पास करके एक्सेप्टेड द डिवीजन ऑफ इंडिया ऑन रिलीजियस ग्राउंड्स. फिर भी ये जो हमारा देश है, हमने नहीं कहा कि मुसलमान यहां से चले गए. हमें सेक्युलरिज्म की क्या जरूरत? हम तो सेक्युलर थे. वहां से तो 20% वाले 2% रह गए, बट हमें सेक्युलर जरूरत नहीं थी. We don't need it. We are intrinsically secular, pluritheistic, and plural in every sense of the term. But then it was introduced as a political gimmick to get votes. The vote bank, we all know what it is all about. Anyways, बात ये है कि नए circumstances में people try to give it a communal color, Hindu-Muslim, whether it is Article 370 or Triple Talaq or something, but these are not decisions taken on the basis of religion. They are taken on the basis of human rights, or they are taken on the basis of integrity of the country. Integrity, country को इंटीग्रल रखना है, इकट्ठे रखना है. एक सारे लोग ऐसे नहीं हैं इस देश में जो ये चाहें कि देश का और बंटवारा नहीं होना चाहिए. काफी लोग ऐसे हैं जो देश के और बंटवारे के लिए भी तैयार हैं, पर एक कम्युनिटी ऐसी है, इंडियन कम्युनिटी जो है, जो इस कंट्री को फिर बंटने नहीं देना चाहती, वो कम्युनिटी को अपना राइट है, अपनी तरह राइट जीने का. दे शुड नॉट एनक्रोच ऑन अदर्स. ग्रेट कंप्लीट रिस्पेक्ट फॉर अदर्स. इन फैक्ट, I mean, an ordinary, you cannot distinguish between an ordinary Muslim and an ordinary Hindu. वो आपको कहीं मेरे पता ही नहीं लगता. ये तो जब पॉलिटिकल क्लास बताती है, जब उनसे नारे लगवाते हैं, तब पता चलता है. Otherwise नहीं कोई पता. In the villages, neither there is no, जब फेस्टिवल होते हैं, रामलीला, तो दलित और मुस्लिम कुछ नहीं होता. वानर सेना में सारे ही होते हैं, सभी होते हैं, किसी को कोई फर्क नहीं पता लगता. तो आई थिंक आवर रूलर्स हैव बीन अनजस्ट, they have not been honest, and it is good the rulers have changed. Not that we are all rulers today are very wise. Well, at least there is one wise man. Let's hope some more wise men will come.